shall we?
Yeah, are we rolling?
We are.
Okay, cool. Welcome back to Not From Boston.
Welcome.
This is, I think, episode 5.
Episode 5.
Yeah. I feel like it's funny because, like, we see each other a lot anyway, just because we both live in LA and we're already friends. But I feel like we're hanging out a lot more since we started this. Yeah.
It's hella cool.
Yeah, hung out on Sunday for...
we watched the Oscars.
Yeah. Also, can I just say, like, this is obviously not related to anything that the podcast is, but, like, your and Natasha's friends are so cool. Like, just generally whenever I hang out with you guys.
Hell yeah.
Like, they're awesome and like, I don't know. It's just, like, fun because it's very, I think, rare to meet, like, creative people in film who aren't, like... looking for something.
Yeah, they're trying to get something out of you. Yeah,
it's just like
it's a good group of real people.
Yeah,
we had a good little squad over here.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, I didn't anticipate the Oscars, like, watching the, because I only saw the back half of it, but, like, watching the Oscars to be, like, as, like, surprisingly difficult for me to watch as, like, than in the past. I think just because of the, like, starting this career shift and everything.
It makes sense.
Like, I think Film and I are, like, on a break. And so it just, like, feels really weird to, like...
It makes sense.
Watch your... like, to watch your ex. I don't know. Like,
definitely. No, I mean, I went through a similar thing with the Grammys this year because I haven't released music this year, and I have no upcoming plans to release anything, and it's a similar, like... Yeah, you're just kind of like, oh, shit, I was doing that, like, hard for, like, years, and now I'm, like, not doing it right now.
And, I mean, I really, like, loved hearing some of... your guys' I'm not gonna like name people on the show, but like some of your guys' friends like talking about like filming stuff and like the really like audacious and awesome stuff that they're doing. And I'm
there was like an airport shoot. Yeah,
it was so cool. I was like, man, I like there is like obviously I missed out. I'm like there is like a second of like oh man, I really do love like filmmaking. Am I doing the right thing by like wanting to kind of go to grad school, pursue like sports media? And then I like left your guys' house and I thought about it and I was like, no, it is I think like I'm okay with the choices being made here.
Yeah, also art is cool because you can always go back to it. Like you don't need to permanently, like, dude, you could be in school and suddenly be like, fuck, I have an idea. Like you can like,
that's so true.
And if you end up, I'm not gonna say too much, but if you end up in this area, then it's easy to call people to make stuff with.
Yeah,
it's not like a high barrier to entry if you're in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I also think like just for me, like, and I know like for you as well, to like some extent, it's just like every time I feel a little like regret about leaving film, I just remember I'm like, oh hey, this kind of like in a way like almost killed you.
Yeah, for me it's interesting because I feel like for me it was the grinding mentality. Like we haven't really talked a ton about our backgrounds on here, but like, for me, I'm a vocal coach and vocal producer by trade. That's what I still do full time. I work in music full time. I create music full time, mostly with and for other artists. And I songwrite for other people. And I have my own artist project. I put out tons of music, but I went through a similar thing last year where I was putting out a song every 3 weeks and I was making probably like 50 to 100 videos on social media for each song.
Yeah.
And I was working with a whole marketing team and they were amazing. The guy I was working with was like incredible. But I just like burned out so hard. And I relate to what you just said because honestly, when, people who don't really know what it's like to have like a mental health episode or whatever, like it's debilitating. And it's like the chronic stress of like pursuing the arts in an area where it's hard to get paid.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's like, like I had a song that blew up on TikTok, a cover that I put out, and it got a ton of streams, and I got a check for $200. Like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
You know?
It's like, yeah, you're putting out all this work, and it's not...
You can't pay the bills with that.
Yeah, I think for me, it was like the same thing, both like as someone who was like who was out here, trying to be a screenwriter and a director, but then also working as a PA where it's like a minimum wage job for work that's way beyond minimum wage. Shout out to the people who are trying to unionize PAs. But it does it is definitely, I think, financially harder to break in now than it probably was.
I think so.
10 or 15 years ago. But it also, for me, it's like I see where the industry is going, and it's like it's unstable, but it's always unstable. And it's like if you can see a path to solid ground, like, then that's great. But like, I think for me, like looking ahead, I'm like, it's like, okay, so we had pandemic, we had strikes,
it's been tough.
We had fires, and it's like there's the AI of it all. There's the kind of, I mean, it kind of, you start to kind of like think about like the bigger kind of cultural issues of like where we're at, and like I don't think we're in a place where this country values artists.
No, I can tell you 100% that
or
most
art
people don't
at all. Like it's a decorative thing.
Yeah, I get it. So again, like our situations are slightly different in the sense that I still work creatively in the music industry, and like I see it from my side where people want to hire me to vocal produce their album. And these are like, some of these artists are like, I have artists who have been a part of Grammy nominated projects and things, like big artists, and they're like, I've had people try to talk me down to like the lowest possible cent that they can get me to, and I'm like, yo, this is a service that I went to college for. Like, I'm an expert in this field. Like, I am like I don't want to sound like a dick, but like, you're not going to get somebody better at this job than me. And because of what you're saying, I think it's right. People are like, oh, well, it's music. Why is it so expensive? Blah, blah, blah. And like, it's like, no, dude, this is like a career that people dedicate their lives to. Like, we deserve to get paid. And the art as a whole, I find it to be sad when art becomes just a monetizable, like, you know, people try to like have business discussions around something and talk you down about it, because art is sacred, and like film and music and paintings and all these things, like when people don't actually value the time and the emotional energy that people put in to create it, it just becomes like such a frustrating thing to work in.
Totally. And I think like it's just really, I think, aggravating when you have, you know, and that's, I think, like chiefly like why I hate AI as much as I do, is like, it's just like, it's the latest step in a way in which they, you know, want to delegitimize artists.
Yeah, of course.
In large part, I think it's because they're jealous of artists, but
yeah, or it's just like, you know, a lot of it is an opportunity to make a buck out of something. And it's funny because like people, you know, when I interact with like managers and label people, most of them have never written a song. Most of them have never worked on the creative side of music. Like, they don't have any fucking clue. Like, they don't know what it takes to make a song or an album or whatever, even just to mix a record. They don't know.
But also, like, the managers, like the people that like you're interacting with, or like the, you know, producers and coordinators that I've interacted with, like the people who aren't ever going to be doing like a profile in Vanity Fair, like those people, I'm like, I'm not talking about those people.
Right.
Like, those people, I think, generally get it, or they have a really nuanced opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, you know, again, our perspectives are similar coming from different places, but for me, it just became like, okay, I'm putting so much mental energy and I'm exhausted. I was just like not sleeping at all, like working all the fucking time, making songs, making videos. And like, yeah, when you crash and then you realize like, and I will go back to releasing music. I'm definitely going to make I have an album sitting on the bleachers right now that's going to come out. And like, I just needed a break. Yeah. And I know, relating to what you said with the Oscars, like this year at the Grammys, I was like, wow, this is the first time I've ever watched the Grammys where I haven't been in an active release cycle. I haven't been making an album. Like, I just need a break.
And like, did you feel like, I guess this is kind of how I felt, did you feel like kind of like just a little more disinterested than you've ever been? Because I was definitely like, I was like, oh, I care, but I'm like, I don't, like, if I hadn't come over like to your guys' place and to watch,
you don't think you would have watched it?
I would not have.
Yeah, I think it's also, though, I don't know, because I do, because I work on the creative side, I do still feel you know what it is I'm looking and listening for different things now, because I love my career now. Like, the move that I've made to go into vocal producing and just outright songwriting and producing for other people has been so much more mentally freeing and rewarding for me. I'm listening for the songs that are getting nominated, the artists that are getting nominated for like things that I'd be working on. Like, oh, okay, what are the harmony stacks they're doing? How are they producing this? I'm not outright listening for like, what is the best pop song of the year?
Right.
And that stuff, I felt much more disconnected. It's almost like, this is how I would explain it. The niche awards, I was way more interested in this year.
Okay.
I was way more interested in like jazz album of the year, or like best pop R&B vocal performance, or whatever, best female vocal performance, like that kind of shit. Whereas like song of the year, album of the year is kind of like, okay, cool, that's tight, you know.
It's also just like such a hard category to award. I mean, it's the same as like,
it's just it's all subjective.
Yeah.
Anyway, Red Sox time. Art pod.
Yeah. Talk about like a team that's doing really, I mean, it's spring training, so spring training games.
Hey man, it's a game.
Yeah. So let's see. There's so much to not so much, but there's a lot to kind of cover this week. We're going to finish that roster breakdown that we started last week. But first, spring training has been going well. The Sox are, I think, 6-4-1 at this point, which is awesome.
Which I'd like to point out. I know spring training doesn't quote unquote matter, but the last time the Sox had the best, I think they literally had the best record in the Grapefruit League was 2018, which they then went on to win the World Series. So I'm just saying.
That is true.
I'm just saying.
So there are a couple of things of note that I wanted to kind of like bring up since we're talking about spring training. Did you see the video of Richard Fitz and Zach Penrod caddying for Walker Buehler in the clubhouse?
So awesome.
I just like
with the pants, the crazy pants. Yeah, so awesome.
So you should go check out this video if you haven't seen it already. But it's in the Red Sox like clubhouse.
It's on their Instagram.
It's on their and these two pitchers, Fitz and Penrod, are caddying for Walker Buehler as he's doing a putt
like a mat. It's like a putting mat. Yeah.
And it's really sweet. It's really fun, and it is just like I'm like, dude, the vibes of this club.
Yeah, this is a different team.
Awesome.
This is a different team.
Like, I'm so excited. Like, these guys love each other. It's fantastic.
And we were saying before we started recording, but like a news story broke yesterday that Marcelo Meyer was talking to. I think it was somebody from the Globe. I don't remember who he was talking to.
I think it's almost always like Alex Spear when it's the Globe. Yeah.
But he was like, I love Alex Bregman. And I'll just say it was Alex Spear, and I'll go fact check that later. But, you know, he asked him, like, why? And he was like, me and Marcelo Meyer and who's the other guy? I think he was talking about Roman Anthony. He was like, we were saying that, you know, the veteran guys never spend time with the rookies, and they never really give a shit about us. And so Bregman literally rode on the bus next to those two guys on the way to their, I guess it was like a rookie practice or a rookie scrimmage or something. And he literally just sat with them and chatted on the bus and watched them play the whole time. And they're like, we love this guy. So there's good vibes on this team.
I mean, that's just like such an important thing to have, is like to have like that veteran, like that kind of anchor in the clubhouse. And I mean, there aren't many guys in Major League Baseball who are better for those rookies to learn from.
Nah, hell no, man. I mean, that guy is a stud. I was going through his baseball reference the other day just because I've obviously, like, I've known how good he is, but that guy's a fucking stud, bro. Like, he finished second in MVP voting. I think he's like a 3 or 4 time All-Star. He's a Gold Glove winner, Silver Slugger. Like, that dude is a dog. And
he is. Totally.
You know, if you're Marcelo Meyer and Alex Bregman's like, oh, this is how I backhand the ball and then I take this step to move toward first, like, you're listening to every second of that. There's no way you're missing that.
I mean, Meyer in particular is a great, like, is the one who should absolutely be, you know, glued to Bregman just because they're both infielders. But I mean, either way, it's awesome. And Meyer and Anthony and Bregman have been going off on a tear in spring training games.
Yeah.
They're all batting around 300.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Christian Campbell,
he's struggling. He has a very funky swing. Yeah. Very funky swing. Like, his hip movement's interesting. And I noticed that the other day. I was watching him and I was like, oh, I saw his numbers are not great. And I was looking at his minor league highlights on YouTube. And I mean, I'm not a major league hitting coach, but I would assume some adaptations will have to be made because he's got a funky swing at the plate.
No, for sure. I think he also probably, even with Bregman being signed like right before camp starts, like he's still under like an immense amount of pressure because like he's the one that everyone seems to think is going to make the opening day roster.
Yeah.
I was looking at Ian Brown's Twitter the other day, the MLB contributor, and he thinks it's very unlikely that Campbell makes the big league roster at this point.
He's 22.
He's
Campbell,
22.
And he kind of like zoomed through the minors. Through. Yeah. I don't think so.
I'm totally cool with that. To have him go back down, especially when we have Hamilton and Grissom to back up Bregman. It's like, why not let this young guy like relax and like get his head on?
I would assume he feels pressure. He's probably trying to like show the world that he's ready for the majors too.
No, exactly.
That's hard.
Someone else who's also struggling is Josh Winkowski.
Yeah, he's going to be used interestingly this year. Like, he is a reliever. You know what I mean? Like, in my eyes.
Yeah, but I think he's just a guy who stays in AAA unless we need the arm, like unless we're injured or something.
Which is funny because he's been good at the major league level. He's another guy who does give up a lot of home runs. But but he has good stuff. I mean, he's capable of starting games if he has to.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just hasn't looked super sharp. I wonder if there's some kind of like, niggling injury or something that he doesn't.
That or just like Boston's like not the right fit for him anymore.
Maybe.
Like I
It's a competitive pen. I mean,
that's true. And I mean, Ottavino's been doing really well. So like,
dude,
maybe
I actually think he is gonna. It's funny, we said last week, we're like, oh, he's not gonna make the major league roster. I think he might.
We'll get into it more when we talk about the 40-man because Ottavino's not on it currently.
Right.
But someone who is not struggling, especially today, is Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, he looks great.
Did you see what he did today?
No.
Against the Rays, he 3 innings, 7 Ks.
Great.
7 strikeouts.
Sick.
Like, what a pig.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah, he's dotting his fastball, which is really, really nice. I didn't get to watch him today, but
no. Well, this is the other thing. This game was not televised.
Oh.
Which leads me to my other point here is MLB. What are you doing not televising spring training games?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Like,
yeah, it is hard to get access to all the games. I mean, I used to have a Nessun account, and so I would watch like with a VPN, like what I would watch Nessun, but I don't have that anymore. And I'm getting my MLB TV. I don't have it set up yet, but
yeah, it's always a hassle. Like when I was visiting my mom in New York, she wanted to watch this was like a year ago, and like she wanted to watch the Yankee game, but it wasn't on Yes, which was weird. And then it was like, oh, well then like let me just pull it up on MLB.TV. And it's like, oh no, we're in New York, so it's blacked out. I was like, okay,
so stupid.
Where is this game being streamed? Oh, it's being streamed on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah,
what?
Dude, that's speaking. Just to tie back to the Oscars real quick, full circle moment here. When we started watching the Oscars, it's the first time they've ever done it on like Hulu, like on a streaming service, and everyone was trying to log into Hulu at the same time, and so Hulu crashed.
Of course it did.
So like no one could watch. Like everybody missed like the Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande performance. Like nobody saw it, and like it's the same shit. It's just like, why make one fucking service that you pay your $12 a month for, where you can watch every game? Stop with the blackout bullshit. Nobody has cable. Nobody's watching Fox 5 Los Angeles version. Like no one has that.
What you're describing exists, and it is called cable.
Yeah, but like but this is the issue. If you have cable in Los Angeles, I can't watch the Red Sox. I have to pay for the extra channel.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the thing. Like MLB TV in theory is great, but they don't have every game because you have to have Amazon Prime or Apple TV has some of the games. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to pay fucking $700 for all these streaming services. Like
Peacock had a game, I think, one year.
Yeah, they do. They do every year. Apple TV, Amazon, they all have a game. Hulu's had a couple.
It's too many. And like, I don't know. I mean, also baseball's in for like a reckoning, I think, in the next couple of years with like the regional sports network thing all kind of falling apart.
Sure.
Which I'm not going to drive our audience crazy with that right now. But yeah, point is, Garrett Crochet pitched really well today, and I would have liked to have been able to watch it. MLB,
get your shit together.
Like, hey, you want to grow the game? Keeping it off TV is a bad way to do.
Yeah, I mean the local blackout thing I think is the biggest issue. It's like, even in that, when we used to live together, it'd be like we'd finish a Red Sox game and we'd be like, okay, let's pop the Dodgers. Oh, can't do that.
Yeah, like that was always annoying. Anyway, but spring training isn't all sunshines and rainbows for us right now, because there are some injuries. For one thing, there is some kind of stomach bug just ripping through the clubhouse.
Which just there's a stomach bug ripping through the United States. I had it about a month ago, and it was fucking horrible. But yeah, I have been reading about that. There's a lot of guys that are sick.
Yeah, it's Tristan Casas, Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, and Romy Gonzalez. At the very least, those 4 have all fallen ill within the last 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Cora is like, yeah, guys, reporters don't come in here.
Yeah.
But it is like, I mean, luckily, like that's something that everyone will recover from, but it sucks. I hope that they're all doing well.
Yeah, I mean, this just reminds me, nothing was worse than the 2021 when like everyone was getting COVID. I remember like Xander was on second, and like the trainer ran. I was like, dude, you got to get off the field. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll get through it. I'd rather have this happen now than in fucking late September. But
right. I don't know how that doesn't happen more often in like the season, like the whole. I mean, I'm sure it does, and we just like don't know about it.
Yeah, we don't know about it.
Like, but it's yeah. So right now everyone's a little bit sick. Rafael Devers was supposed to debut yesterday.
Yes.
Tuesday. We're recording this on Wednesday. He he was supposed to debut yesterday, and they pushed back. I don't know if they've decided when he will appear.
Yeah.
But he, I guess, told Corey he's still feeling a little bit of discomfort, wanted another day of live BP. I guess, how do you feel about like the chance that like where Rafi's injury is at? Are you worried that he doesn't make opening day?
No, he'll play opening day. When I see these things, I always assume automatically that it's a precautionary, like why even give him any risk of re-injuring himself in spring training? Like he'll play in spring training. There's 2 weeks left?
There's
2.5.
We have our first game's on the 27th.
Yeah, so about 2.5 weeks. Yeah.
No, 3 weeks. 'Cause 22. Yeah.
So he'll play. I mean, I think next week we'll probably see him getting regular action. I would say if we get to today's Wednesday, if we get to Saturday, and it's like, yeah, we don't know. Like if that is the answer we're getting, that's sort of indication that like, okay, there's a problem here.
I think it. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that all makes sense. My concern is like with the shoulder, it's just like it's the injury, and it's like I hate to bring it all back to like, does Rafi play third or does he DH? But hey, if it's a shoulder injury and like it's continuing to aggravate him,
yeah, I mean,
we really want him to play, then
there isn't really any question there.
Let's not put him in a position where he has to like aggravate his shoulder more.
Yeah. 100%. I agree. I mean, that ultimately that is what might actually keep him off third base.
Right. No,
he needs to swing. He needs to swing. I always watch all the YouTube content, but I watched our boy Giraffe Neck Mark the other day, and he always does like, over the holiday period, he ranks every position player, like the top 30 of each position. And I went back through those videos and I watched the third base one. I think he had Devers at number 2. And I honestly, it's purely because of his bat.
Yeah.
So
who do you have at number 1?
I don't remember.
Like trying to think who this is like AL or is it the whole?
No, everyone. He had
trying to think who would be maybe like, was it Jose? I don't know if Jose Ramirez would be Jose Ramirez could be.
Oh, yeah, it was Jose Ramirez. Yeah. It was Jose Ramirez.
Like, that's the only.
What's crazy? He had Arenado like 17th or 16th, which it's not a surprise, but it's so weird to see a third baseman list where Arenado is not in the top 5. That's crazy.
It's really,
decline is real.
It's real, yeah. Let's see what else. Not Walker. Wilyer Abreu is back from injury.
Yeah,
which is great.
Saw him taking some flies out there.
Happy to see that. Brian Bayo may start the season on the IL.
Yeah,
he's got some shoulder inflammation.
Yeah, he's on. I saw a hilarious Instagram post that he's on Fraud Watch, which I'm not going to go that far, but he's definitely on like, let's prove that. I know he got a nice little contract there. Let's prove that money.
I don't know what his incentive would be to like. I like. Why would he not actually be injured? Like, I guess, like...
Oh, no, I'm saying just when he comes back, like, how is he going to perform? Is he actually going to be good this year?
I hope so, because he's
good
like,
stuff.
He has so much potential. It's just, like, be such a waste if he wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Hopefully he's, like, the inflammation, like, all he needs to do is, like, be on the IL and miss opening day.
Yeah.
Anything, like, worse than that is nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the last injury the Red Sox are currently dealing with. Cutter Crawford has a knee injury.
Yeah.
He's probably going to start on the IL, according to Pete Abraham.
Yeah, I read 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, surgery has not been ruled out.
Yikes.
So there's a good chance that we lose Cutter Crawford for a large portion, if not all of the season.
Yeah, surgery equals not going to play a lot. I mean, that's just the way it is.
But at the same time, I'm like, with both Bayo and Crawford, I'm like, it sucks to lose both of those arms, but I'm like, this isn't like last year where Giolito got hurt and we were like, oh my God, we now have nobody.
No, we have plenty of people to pick from.
It's Priester and Fitz will fight it out for this 5th spot.
Yeah. Fitz looks good, bro. He was throwing 99. I was watching his start. I was like, holy shit.
Dude, I can't believe like...
And he's lefty, dude. Like, having...
No, Fitz is not a lefty.
Isn't he?
Fitz is a righty.
Is Priester a lefty?
Nope.
Who am I thinking of then?
For starting...
Is it Crochet the only lefty?
He's the only big leaguer, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, either way, it must have been Fitz then. I'm just tripping, but he was throwing heat.
Yeah. Really amazing because that we got him in the Verdugo trade. And,
yeah, I know. who still doesn't have a team.
I know.
I was just reading about that last night. He posted something on his Instagram that I saw, and I was like, oh, I kind of feel bad for him. It was like
I don't.
It was like in due time, and it was like a highlight reel.
No, that dude was not. He was not good for our clubhouse.
No, I mean, I just, I always want people that were on our team, even though we went to the Yankees. It was a trade, obviously. But, like, whenever someone played for the Sox, I always wish them the best. I hope he finds his way. I could see him ending up on, like, a Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's wild because, like, I mean, I think he was, like, overvalued in some ways. But he's an average player.
Yeah, I think literally he's a 100 OPS plus. Like, he is literally an average player. Yeah.
So I'm sure that I wouldn't be surprised if Verdugo's like looking for more money than he's going to get.
That's what I was reading is that he probably has been offered contracts and it's been less than what he wants.
Yeah, I think that he's going to get like, I mean, he's also he's only going to get a 1 year.
Yeah, definitely.
Like wherever he's going.
Because the Yankees have that Jason Dominguez guy that can play left field.
Their number one prospect for the last like 4 years.
Yeah, and like Verdugo was playing over him. Like he's not going back there.
Have you actually seen like some of the highlights recently in spring games of Dominguez playing left?
Is he sick?
He sucks.
Really?
Oh, he's getting bad reads off the ball.
Really?
He's not.
Is he a natural outfielder or is he one of these guys that like, was a shortstop that they're just
he's
like,
he's a natural outfielder?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's so I've seen some videos like kind of breaking this down again. Like, Baseball for Baddies does a good one. And she's a Yankees fan, so she kind of backs him up. But just watching the highlights, it's like, damn, that's your number one. All right. But yeah, so I guess like that's kind of what's going on. Although for other teams, there is some more. So actually, like since we're talking about Jason Dominguez, the Yankees. DJ LeMahieu once again has strained his calf.
I think his career is like very quickly wrapping up.
I mean, I imagine so. Like
that guy's huge. Like it's hard to be, especially as an infielder. Like you're moving a lot, and he's a big guy.
He was on the Rockies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like him, Story, and
Bro,
Arenado.
their infield was crazy.
How did they
Story,
not,
Arenado, and they had someone at first base that was really good too. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not gonna remember either.
No, I don't know how they did. They did get to. They were in the playoffs a lot. Like 17, I think 16, 17, 18, 19. They were in the postseason every year. They had a good pitching staff too. They had like John Gray when he was good. There was a guy. It wasn't Herman Marquez. Who the hell was the guy? They had one other starting pitcher who was like really good.
I feel like Herman Marquez actually sounds right.
Maybe it is Herman Marquez. I'll look it up. But yes, I don't know how they never got further. They lost to, I think they always lost. It is Herman Marquez.
Yeah.
Holy shit. How about that?
In 2017, they lost to the Diamondbacks in the wild card game.
Yes.
And then in 2018, they lost the NLDS to the Brewers.
Yeah, that was a good series too. I remember that. Those Brewers were good.
Only made 5 postseason appearances in their history.
One of which was getting pummeled by the Sox.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But so, yeah, LeMahieu hurt. Juan Carlos Stanton has injuries in both elbows.
Yeah, I think he's like not going to play a lot this year.
He's out indefinitely, they say. And then...
You know what? I just want to say something about that. They keep calling him a bust. Giancarlo Stanton is not a bust. Like, he's a lot of money for like not performing his worth, but he's not a bust. Like, he's had multiple seasons in New York where he's hit 30 plus homers and, has an OPS well above 800. Like, you can't call somebody a bust. Like, Pujols in Los Angeles, but at the Angels, like, that's more of a bust. Stanton has been so good for them in the postseason too. Like, it's really frustrating to, even though I'm not a Yankees fan, I don't really give a shit about what people think, but I'm like, dude, don't call that guy a bust.
I mean, I don't know. His 2023 line is bad.
Yeah, he's had some stinkers, but he's had some good years for them too. His first year in the Bronx was good, 2018.
Yeah, I mean, I think just nothing comes close to his Miami years.
No. But also that was the prime, that was like his physical prime,
Yeah. So,
and that was a trade. Like, I don't know if Miami's absorbing any of that money. I don't think so, but
yeah, but he's 35 now. I mean,
yeah, man, he's going to play to get his 500 home runs, and he'll do whatever he has to do to stick around long enough to do that, and then he'll retire.
And listen, as long as he keeps hitting, I'm going to continue to be afraid of him.
Yeah, dude, he's so good in the postseason.
Also,
that's what I'm saying. He's not
so
a bust.
Big.
Yeah, he's jacked.
Just huge. Yeah, terrifying. But lastly, the Yankees, another Yankee injury, Luis Heel.
Yeah.
Has a high-grade lat strain.
Yeah, I
which,
saw that.
For those of you who don't know, like that is an injury that typically can end your season.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for that rotation. But
yeah, he's out. I think he's not throwing for 6 weeks. They'll take it from there. I think obviously like they could shut him down for the season, but we'll see.
Yeah.
This is a situation where I'm like, you know, we've been talking, going back and forth about like, who wins the division this year, Red Sox or Yankees, and like seeing Luis Heel potentially being out of the picture for a lot of it, it's like our odds just got a lot better.
Yeah, definitely don't hurt. I mean,
especially funny because they've been trying to dump Stroman.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to now.
No, they need him now,
which is great. I like that.
Yeah,
Stroman's such a nuisance.
Yeah, this is what spring training is honestly great for, because you go in, you're like, oh, we have this roster, we're ready to go, and then just injuries just kind of crop up here and there.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh well.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I just saw somebody there was I can't think of who it was off the front, but a big player for the Guardians got nailed in the ribs and he's out for like 8 weeks now. I mean, it's just like these things happen. Do you want to go through the rest of the 40-man?
Yes, just really quickly. The last thing I want to do before we do that was so over the weekend, but the current president of the United States tweeted about Pete Rose.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then
I saw that whole thing.
Commissioner Rob Manfred says he's now considering removing Pete Rose from the ineligible list.
Yeah.
What you got thoughts?
I think it's so stupid. I mean, it's just like, what the fuck is happening? This whole like, it's not a political pod, but this whole it just seems like a reality show.
It's also like, we're not a politics pod. We're also not a pro-Trump pod.
No, this is not a pro-Trump pod. Yeah, I think it's silly. I think it's like, I don't know. Pete, if we're removing the Trump of it, Pete Rose, the guy is literally the hit king, but he also gambled, I'm pretty sure, on games that he played in, right?
Did. Yeah.
So you can't get in.
He's also dead now.
Yeah, and he's also like, didn't he like sexually assault like
allegedly
a 15-year-old
he
or
had
something?
sex with a minor.
Yeah, okay, so like, you know,
which is I think that's more.
Yeah,
let's not put him in the Hall of Fame for that more than the gambling.
And it's tough because we talk about like Curt Schilling, right? Like Curt Schilling, in my opinion, has some outlandish opinions. Like I don't agree with him pretty much anything regarding politics or social, you know, how things should
anything
work.
Outside of baseball.
However, Curt Schilling should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he is.
And like, he's done deplorable shit. He like bankrupted the state of Rhode Island. Like which again, I'm not equating bankrupting a state to sexually assaulting a minor. Like that's way the latter is way worse, obviously.
Yeah, right.
But you know, I don't know. Pete Rose, I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
But like, yeah, I also just like have to wonder, does bringing him back, like for taking him off the restricted list, making him eligible to go to Cooperstown, like, does that fix anything?
I don't know. Like, because the Hall of Fame, if we want to have that discussion in general, like, we were hitting baseballs the other day talking about it. Like, Ty Cobb is in the Hall of Fame. Like, Ty Cobb, I'm pretty sure, shot a gun at a black person. Like, Ty Cobb is like an unbelievable racist. Like, you know, I don't know what it opens up, but I think it'll ultimately. There are people in the Hall of Fame there are people that are kept out of the Hall of Fame for reasons that did not keep people out of the Hall of Fame in other instances.
Yeah, I guess that's the...
And I don't know what the line is. Like, I'm glad I don't have to vote for it, but like...
Yeah.
Pete Rose, I think ultimately, the big thing for me, other than his deplorable actions, is he gambled on games that he played in, which like in the baseball rules, yes, like players gamble and whatever, but like when you gamble on a game that you play in
and in your sport, like
so like that's it. Because I heard another interesting piece about a long time ago. Someone was saying, even if he didn't gamble on games that he played in, if he chose not to gamble, like let's say he chose not to bet on a certain game that he was playing, people are going, he doesn't think they're going to win that game.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
So I don't think you can let him in. I mean, obviously the sexual assault thing is like a different reason in itself that I think he shouldn't be let in for. But if we're going purely on, if we're using the Ty Cobb thing, it's like, well, he's in the Hall of Fame, and we're going purely on baseball. He gambled on games that he played in. You can't get in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think it's hard to like use Ty Cobb as a barometer because it's like, okay, I mean, this is a generalization, but like if we're looking at players from like pre 1950,
yeah, probably. You're probably gonna have motherfuckers were racist.
You're gonna have more racists than non-racists.
But I think he's like a known. No, he's like a known.
I think
dick.
his like, I think his like daughter disputes that, which like, I mean, of course she does.
Right.
Like, but yeah, no, I think for me the thing about Pete Rose is like, okay, if we're going to let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, which I don't know that we should do, but if we're going to, guys, Barry Bonds belongs in the Hall of Fame. And like actually, this is some, like, that's where I'm like, this is some bullshit.
And I actually even have a different, if the question you were asking earlier, like what door does that open, if that's related to like Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, I have like an outright different opinion on that anyway, because Barry Bonds, Roger, damn, this is making me hot. I'm tight right now about
Let's
this.
Go.
Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, honestly, A-Rod got dinged after the
A-Rod did get,
but anyone who got popped pre-Mitchell report should be in the Hall of Fame, and here is why. Again, there are guys in the Hall of Fame, Mike Piazza, who definitely took steroids and didn't get caught.
Yeah,
bro, you cannot tell me that a catcher hitting like whatever 40-something home runs in that era was not juiced. Right. There's no way, bro. Like, I know Nomar's not in the Hall of Fame, but like that guy was juiced and never got caught. There's no way. There's a picture of him on a Sports Illustrated cover that I saw when I was a kid. I'm like, my dad was like, oh my God, like he's juiced. Like he's just fucking looks like a balloon man. He looks like the Michelin Man. Like,
I mean, that's the era baseball was in, and like that's not necessarily like right, but it's just it is.
If you're gonna say the steroids enhanced Barry Bonds' home runs, guess what? It also enhanced the fastballs of the pitchers that he was facing in that same era.
Yeah,
Barry Bonds was hitting fastballs that were juiced.
Also,
you know,
I think like. We are really good now at analytics and all this like nerdy stuff. It's like, okay, let's just pretend that, let's take like Barry Bonds' like pre-steroid era numbers and then extrapolate like, oh, let's imagine that he played the rest of his career in San Francisco as that pre-steroid player. Right. He's still going to have 500 home runs.
Yeah, and like Tim Raines is in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Tim Raines, like Barry Bonds with no... If you put Barry Bonds in Major League Baseball for 12 years with no steroids, he's a better hitter than Tim Raines. His counting numbers are better. His analytics are better. His StatCast, you know, whatever you want to call it, like all of his numbers are better. Tim Raines is a great player, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But like... Or who's the other one? There was Harold Baines.
Yeah.
Right? Like those guys are not better hitters than Barry Bonds pre-steroids. And we don't know when he started taking steroids, probably when he got to San Francisco, maybe earlier. But like... I don't give a fuck if he did or if it was a cream or a pill or whatever the arguments are. Like, he should be in the Hall of Fame. So should Clemens. I think so should, honestly, like, Sammy Sosa should be in the Hall of Fame. Manny. Like...
the thing is, like, because I understand, like, if we're treating it like a merit, like it's not a meritocracy, but if it's a purity test.
Right.
Then, like, that's one thing. But it's not. It's the Hall of Fame. It's like fame is a different word. That means,
the Hall of Fame is a museum.
It's an awesome museum. You should all go to Cooperstown, check it out. But like, sure, what the contributions that Barry Bonds made to baseball may not have all been good, but they are significant to baseball, and they are like fundamental into how baseball has become what it is today, and that deserves recognition, even if it's bad.
Yeah, and if you ask any major league pitcher from the 20-year career span that he had, every Hall of Fame pitcher that pitched in that era will all tell you, literally all of them, the guy you did not want to face was Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
They would rather face prime Big Papi, prime A-Rod, prime any of these guys. You do not... I mean, bro, he got intentionally walked with the bases loaded like multiple times. People are like, fuck that, I'm not pitching to him.
I think it's also just like important to note, like, when steroids like happened is not really an accident. And what I mean by that is, so Major League Baseball, you know, of course, famously had that strike in 1994, and that strike like severely damaged the game's reputation amongst the public. So when the game came back in 1995, or I guess so in 1993, the year before the strike, the total attendance to Major League Baseball games was 70 million, 256,000 people. It's an average of, 31,000 people a game. After the 1994 strike, it was down to 50,000 or 50 million. So it lost 20 million fans that year. 1996, it like creeps up 60 million. 97, it's 63 million. 1998, it's 70.3 million. I wonder what happened in 1998.
I can tell you what
that
happened.
made baseball so popular.
There were
again.
two guys swatting home runs like they were tennis balls. Like,
right. And then from there, you have baseball like basically going on a tear, reaching like heights of popularity that it had not had before.
Bro, the reason we're doing this podcast is because when we were growing up, baseball was the coolest sport.
Right.
ESPN was like only talking about baseball.
And so, yes, like how we got there like sucks because steroids aren't like it does not make the playing field level.
Mm-hmm.
But like shit, we kind of owe them because without them this game probably would be a lot weaker than it is, if not dead.
Also, I this thought has just popped into my head over the last couple of weeks. If we're going to talk about the steroid thing, football, which is arguably the most popular sport in the United States right now, has a huge problem with covering up head injuries. They're letting guys go out and play that have and they're like, oh, well, we have a protocol. And I'm like, bro, like you're letting Tua Tagovailoa play when he's had like 7 concussions. Like, that in its own way is sort of like covering up a big problem to keep the popularity of the sport alive. People who like football want to see these guys beat the shit out of each other. Yeah. And I love football too. Like I like watching it, but like it's same but different. It's like obviously guys aren't taking substances to enhance, but the league is covering up a problem to keep the popularity of the sport high. Kids are playing football at like an all-time high rate right now, even though there's tons of head injuries that are being talked about, because I think if we really dug deep and uncovered the amount of damage that these guys do to their heads, it would be way bigger of a fucking problem. Yeah. And again, I love football. Right. I'm not saying that I love watching football. I love watching the Super Bowl. I love watching regular season games. Like I really enjoy it a lot.
But we probably shouldn't be like letting our kids play it anymore.
Yeah, probably not, or at least like making them wear the Guardian cap, like at a very bare minimum. But it's similar. It reminds me of a similar, like the league is like, okay, this is not good, what's happening, and we know it's not good, but we're getting a lot of people watching the sport. So like we're gonna do like they did the Mitchell report, and they have little fines and suspensions, and only recently did it become a big thing. Like, okay, now you're going to miss 160 games. Like, so anyway, that was something that popped into my head. And like all these sports, bro, there's guys who take performance enhancing substances. I don't know. I just think it's a huge disservice, long story short, to not allow Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame and Roger Clemens. I think they're in the same level. Like those guys are fucking studs.
Yeah. I just want to run down real quick. This is Barry Bonds last year before he went to San Francisco, and I guess a year or two, before a steroid era, like he started taking steroids allegedly. Allegedly. He walked 127 times.
Yeah, bro, he's like the best on base percentage player ever.
He struck out 69 times.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, he hit above 300. He had a 1.08
fucking
OPS.
Crazy.
Like those are crazy numbers to have without steroids.
Did he win a Gold Glove and left?
He actually won
multiple, right?
A lot of 1, 2, 3.
Because in Pittsburgh, he was a serious.
He won 8 Gold Gloves.
Yeah, bro. Barry Bonds should be in the fucking Hall of Fame. This is stupid. Like this shouldn't even be a discussion.
Rookie of the Year, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-time MVP.
Yeah, I think he's the most.
I mean,
he's the best hitter in baseball history.
Silver Slugger pretty much every year, but 07 and 08 or 05, 06. Crazy.
He's the best hitter in baseball history, and yes, he cheated. He did something fucked up, but like so did half the league back then, and he should be in.
Yeah. Also, like,
plus it's stupid as fuck that when you go to Cooperstown, sorry, and then we'll move on. But it's so stupid. I used to be different. I used to have a different opinion like 7 years ago about this, but the more I've gotten older and thought about it, I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's so stupid that his bat and the ball that he hit, they're in Cooperstown. Yeah. And people are like, well, that's good enough. I'm like, no, dude, that's not good enough. The guy, the human being who put the bat on the ball and hit it fucking 400 feet, 700 and what was his final tally?
762.
762 home runs. Yeah. Why is he not in the fucking Hall of Fame?
Also, that ball has an asterisk on it.
Yeah. Fine. Put him in the Hall of Fame with an asterisk. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, honestly,
I don't care. Do that.
The plaque that the players like
put
get
a fucking
in the
star
hall.
on it. I don't care.
In that hall, there's a little bio. You can put in the little bio.
He was widely known as one of the faces of the steroid era. Fine. Bro, I don't care. But if Mike fucking Piazza is in the Hall of Fame, Barry Bonds should be, just because he didn't get caught. Like, Mike Piazza also gained like 50 pounds in a 1-year span.
Yeah.
Or like, who's that guy from the Orioles, Brady Anderson, who's not in the Hall of Fame, but like randomly hit 50 home runs one season? Like, come on.
Luis Gonzalez did that too in 01. He hit 59 home runs.
Bro, look at the video of him hitting that walk-off single. His veins are bulging out of his arms. Like, although I guess Tyler O'Neill looks like that all the time, so some people just have it. But anyway, I could go on and on. It's silly that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, like, slightly different thing because
I'd rather have the steroid guys in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, definitely. Pete Rose was not doing something that everybody was doing. It's not like everyone was sitting around and gambling, and there was precedent set because of the Black Sox stuff.
Right.
There was precedent for that.
Right.
Like, hey, man, you broke the rules multiple times, and you bet on your own team. You're out, you know? I don't know. Pete Rose is also just like a scumbag, so whatever.
Yeah.
Anywho, on that note, thanks, Trump, for starting a riveting discussion.
Yeah. In the future, please keep my favorite thing out of your mouth.
Yeah. Let's not tweet about baseball.
So anyway, the Red Sox bullpen, which we didn't get to last week.
Dive in.
Got quite a few names on this list. Starting with Cooper Criswell.
Yeah, I think he's not gonna be prominently featured. I think he'll get innings. He's also how old?
He is 28.
He's 28?
Yeah.
I thought he was like 25.
No.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I think he kind of reminds me of like a Felix Doubront from back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, again, like he'll eat up a couple innings, he'll mop up some stuff. He's not going to be a high leverage situation pitcher, but you need those guys in your pen. Yeah.
No, I agree. To me, it's like you kind of look at his numbers. He had a 4.08 ERA.
Yeah, exactly.
We used him last year as both a starter and as a reliever.
Yeah,
and
he's a long reliever, mop-up guy.
I think it's like the same as like a guy who we'll get to in a minute, Garrett Whitlock, where it's like you got to just pick a lane for him because stretching him out as a starter,
he's a reliever,
does a lot of damage.
He reminds me a lot of Garrett Richards when we had him.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Garrett Richards. Like he kind of does both things, but he's just, again, like I said this last time, he's an inning eater.
The next person I want to talk about, Greg Weissert.
Yeah, he's very interesting.
He at the beginning of the year last year, he was gnarly.
Yeah.
He was.
He came over in that Verdugo trade too, right?
Yeah.
He's good. I mean, he has good stuff. I don't know. It's so hard to know with these younger guys, like what they're going to be capable of.
He just had. I'm trying to look on Baseball Savant real quickly to see what his pitches are, because there's one. Yeah, his slider, or I guess maybe it's a sweeper, but it's got some bite to it.
Yeah,
that's just
moves a lot.
Unbelievable. I don't know. He had a really good year. He had an ERA that was like 3.13. He did. Yeah, I think he did all right. I would love to see him like take another step,
leap forward. Sure,
definitely someone that I would want to keep on the major league roster. I
definitely. Yeah, no, I definitely think he deserves to be there.
Yeah.
I think more than Cresswell, I think he's like usable in a higher leverage situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to be just like, all right, we're playing the Pirates. Like, we're up by 3. Just fucking stick this guy in. Like, it's not going to be like that. I do like his stuff. I definitely think dude, it's so funny when you talk to people that have played baseball. And like, I think I mentioned this to you, but I had a guy that went to my church who plays in Major League Baseball. He played for the Giants. I think he just got traded to Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
And he was saying that like when you're playing Major League Baseball, you don't realize how different the pitching is and how different the hitting is. So when you're like coming up from AAA, you can dot a 95er and strike out a lot of guys. And when you come, the jump from AA to AAA is like, okay, cool, I can handle this. The jump from AAA to majors is like
huge.
Holy fucking shit. This is such a different game.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just, I think he's going to be one of those guys who like there is still an adjustment phase coming, but I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Zach Kelly.
He pitched decent amount last year.
56 innings.
Yeah, he was used quite a bit, I remember.
Yeah, ERA just under 4.
Okay.
He gave up, 27 walks, 10 home runs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you know, we have like so many right-handed pitchers. I know in the pen we obviously have a few more lefties, but he again, like, I feel like a lot of these guys in the pen are kind of fighting for the like who's the mop-up guy spot. He again could not see him be in a high leverage situation. He's been playing. His debut was in 2022.
Yeah, it's funny. He like totally slipped under my radar, I think, the last 2 years.
Yeah, I know he's been around. I definitely have seen him, but yeah, he's never. The guys we know are the moments guy, especially bullpen. Yeah. Like you're known as a moments guy, and like he hasn't had a lot of like moments.
He's from Roanoke.
Oh, really?
Virginia, fellow Virginian.
I wonder where he went to high school.
Oh, it actually says right here, Lord Bodetor.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Probably a private school.
Yeah. But cool, fellow Virginian Zach Kelly. That's nice.
He'll get used.
Yeah.
He's a D2 player. Wow. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, D2 really kind of
Concord Mountain Lions. Yeah, it's always D3 or D1. It's weird, but hey, fuck it.
Brennan Bernardino.
Yeah, he fell off quite a bit last year.
He did.
He has good stuff, but he definitely was like not usable at the end of the season.
Well, I think he also was in the unfortunate position of being like the lone lefty.
Yeah.
In that staff. I wonder if like having Chapman and Wilson and a couple of the other guys like takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
But yeah, his numbers aren't like egregious, but I wouldn't be surprised if he like kind of jumps back and forth from AAA to the majors.
Yeah, I think we have, like you said, having more lefties leaves less room for him to pitch, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But it is funny. We have so many, like I was just thinking with Zach Kelly, like we have so many of these guys who are like pretty decent right-handed pitchers.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
Speaking of which, I think he's a little bit above average. Justin Slayton.
Yeah, he's good. I think he's better than average.
I agree. I think he honestly is competing for the closer role.
Yeah, I would think so. At least, eighth inning setup guy. There's kind of three guys fighting for that spot, like the high leverage positions. It's him, Chapman, who we'll obviously get to, and Hendricks, I think. But I really like Justin Slayton. I think he has proved himself. He's definitely good. He kind of reminds me of like the year Matt Barnes was really good. That's sort of the vibe I get from him. Or like the year Brandon Workman was really good.
Yeah.
Which is a name I never thought I'd be saying again. But hey, there you go.
All right, cool. Yeah, then Richard Fitz. We talked about him just a little bit today.
Sick.
He
throws gas. Funny. Seems like a funny dude.
Yeah, and he's, he started a few games for us last year when we were kind of, out of it, and he pitched really well. Like he did. I think he pitched against the Yankees, and he did. He had some strong stuff.
You can always tell. So, like, another thing that Austin mentioned to me, Austin Slater is the guy that I went to church with, and we only met twice at 2 Christmas parties, but I talked to him a lot about baseball. I was like, fucking... He told me that Hunter Pence is really cool. That's what he said. He's like, he's the coolest. He was like, he's the coolest guy ever. And he said, he's like, yeah, I woke up this morning and like Posey texted me. He's like, whoa, that is so cool.
That's
holy shit. Like a Hall of Famer like texted
holy
you.
Crap.
But he told me that with like bullpen guys, if you're a vibes guy, you're going to be a better bullpen guy because you kind of have to be a weirdo to be a bullpen pitcher.
Yeah.
Like you only come in like every once in a while and you have to just like show up and like there's a bases loaded when you're coming in.
Yeah.
And Fitz kind of gives me that vibe. Like he seems a little wacky, but I feel like he'll just like, fuck it, bases loaded, 2 outs, let's fucking go, baby. Like he just gives me that vibe. And I think he will probably end up being a starter, but he's going to pitch out of the pen right now.
Yeah. I think that's right just because we don't have room.
There's no room for him to start.
I just don't think he should be going back to AAA.
No, he needs to be on the major league roster. Definitely. He looks great.
Yeah. And so does Garrett Whitlock.
Yeah. He's another one of these guys that has like multiple roles, but he needs to stay in the bullpen. He's not a starter.
I think Craig Breslow gets that message.
He's not a starter.
Yeah.
Like he gets hurt every year he starts.
He only pitched in 4 games last year. But he did have a ERA under 2.
Yeah.
So, he's good. I do think that he's better in the bullpen, kind of a long reliever position. But yeah, I really hope he has I hope he has a healthy year and, bounces back after years of.
He's just been, had a lot of instability in his career with his elbow. He's had issues with his knee. I mean, he's had a lot of stuff, but I like him a lot. I remember the first time I saw him pitch, and he's another guy that came from the Yankees as a comp pick, right? or like a Rule 5. How did we get him?
Whitlock, we got him from the Yankees, and I think it was a Rule 5.
Bro, that's crazy. They didn't hold on to him. He's a stud.
The Yankees have made some like
weird decisions with that shit. Yeah, questionable. Because they literally got Verdugo straight up for Fitz and Priester, right?
No, for Fitz and Weiser.
Weiser, right? Was that literally it? Was it just Verdugo for those two? Did we give anybody else?
No, we might have gotten a third. Let me double check, but I think we got a third guy.
But did we give them anybody else?
No.
How the fuck did we do that? That's crazy. Cashman.
I don't know. And it was weird too because they did that and then they went and got Soto.
Yeah, we probably gave them money for Verdugo too. Like we probably paid some of his contract.
We got one more pitcher, Nicholas Judas.
What a name. Holy moly. Is it Judas like Judas?
No, IC.
Bummer.
He's I think further down in the system.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think the Sox would have covered Verdugo's contract that year because he was still arbitration. It was less than 10
That's just a bad. Like, we just fleeced the Yankees.
No,
Wow,
I think
what the fuck were they doing?
I don't know, but hey, you know what? At the end of the day, they made it to the World Series and we did not.
Yeah, that's true. And Verdugo hit a home run in the World Series.
That's true. But
actually, he played in the field quite well in the World Series too.
And then he also struck out to end.
He did strike out to end the World Series, but he had a bad year, but he actually played well.
Can you imagine being the last out at the World Series?
Definitely sucks.
I can't imagine.
I always think about. I was playing MLB The Show the other day, and I was facing a guy online who's using Chris Sale, and I was thinking about Machado, like when he struck out Machado down his knees, and I'm like, Machado's a stud. He's making like $30 million a year. He's a beast, but like that'll haunt him for the rest of his life.
Well, he also Machado's like got such a swagger. Like he hates
he got
humiliation, and like that was a bad swing.
Yeah, he swung at a pitch like
garbage pitch.
Never in the strike zone. Yeah.
I mean,
but you also have to think. Damn, my mic's clipping. You also have to think that like in that instance, as well as Verdugo, you kind of know like it's over.
Yeah,
you're going up like, all right, just let me get this shit over with.
Like I do think of like 2013 where Matt Carpenter is the last guy up for the Cardinals, and you got Urahara on the mound, and it's like, if I'm Matt Carpenter, I'm like, there's no way out of this.
No, bro, you're gonna fucking strike. You're gonna be done.
I think there's
especially at home when you're facing the team at home. Like it's like I know the Yankees were at Yankee Stadium, but it's just like everyone's like, you're like, there's no way.
What would you rather? And I'm gonna ask you this because you're a fan of both sports. Would you rather close out the World Series
on the mound, like as a pitcher,
on the mound,
okay,
or be the goalie for the U.S. national team in the World Cup final?
Oh my God!
Assuming that the U.S. team somehow gets into the World
they
Cup
have a better team than they've ever had right now. But oh my God.
Which one of those is more pressure to you?
The World Cup final.
Really?
Because it only happens once every 4 years.
That's a good point.
And like
bigger audience.
Dude, like the World Cup, it's like it's not about they don't get paid for that shit. Like it's like
what?
No, they don't. I mean, maybe a little bit, but they're not making like millions to play in the world. They get paid from their club teams.
Oh, okay.
So like these are guys that are just doing this and they're giving up their whole summer because they're like, this is for my country.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking crazy, dude. When you talk to these guys, like Messi and shit, he was like, I watched a translated interview of him recently. He's like, yeah, I'm like getting to the point where there's no reason that I should be in the next World Cup, but I'm going to do everything I can to stay fit so I can play because it's for Argentina. I'm like, what the fuck? These guys are crazy.
And I mean, you got to tell you, because I was like in Argentina this past winter.
That guy's like a god there.
He is.
He's
and like
talking to
my cousins, like it's like, well, what was it like to experience a World Cup victory? And they're like, dude, you don't even know.
Dude, in Spain, the year 2010, there was like 80% more children conceived after they won the world, like between the months of August and September. Yeah,
I
it's like
totally
insane.
believe it. I think we have similar numbers if you look at like Super Bowls.
Oh, definitely.
Like, yeah.
I'm sure. People are like, fuck yeah,
Yeah, and yeah.
But the pressure you must feel, if it's like a penalty shootout, and it's one game, that's the other thing, the World Series, it's like, if it's game 5, you're like, all right, if I fuck this up, like I got 2 more chances. Game 7, it's a different thing. But like I would say maybe the closest comp I could get is if who closed out the game for the Cubs in 2016? I don't remember who was pitching for them.
Was it?
It was not Chapman because he gave up the home run to Rajai Davis. It was not somebody that you would expect. But that guy, whoever's pitching for the Cubs, extra innings, you just had a lead that you blew and then came back from, and you're in extra innings in the game 7 of an 100-year curse. that is as close to being in a penalty shootout in the World Cup final for a country that's never won as you're ever going to get.
Mike Montgomery.
Get the fuck out of here.
He got the save.
Wow, I never would have guessed that. I remember Carl Edwards Jr. pitching, but
yeah, I mean,
wow.
Game 7 of that World Series is
like one of the best games. That's one of the best baseball games of all time.
Incredible.
Anyway,
yeah. So moving back to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Luis Guerrero.
I know I'm not gonna say nothing because I've done my homework on everybody, but I know very little about him. I know roughly what he throws and how he throws, but I can't imagine a situation in which we're seeing him at least early on in the season against a big team.
Yeah, I think it's kind of that's right. There's no rush to get him out there, but I think it's gonna be great when he does come out. He only threw 10 innings last year.
I was gonna say he didn't pitch a lot,
but
September, right?
Yeah. Dude throws just heat.
Yeah, he throws like 103.
It's incredible.
Yeah, he throws fast.
And so, yeah, no rush to get him out here, but like it'll be great when we do.
I could see him. He's not going to be a starter, but like Hunter.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Hunter Green is someone who has just like a fucking fireball fastball. Or like, who's that guy that used to pitch for the Cardinals? He was a closer. I can't think of his name, but he just threw like absolute gas.
Yeah, I think Guerrero is somebody who's like in a few years our closer.
Yeah.
But
I knew very little about him other than he has just like a crazy fastball and that he didn't pitch a lot last year.
Yeah. Okay, next is Quinn Priester.
Yeah, he's sick. Love him.
Pitched one game last year.
I need more. I hope he makes the final roster because he's fucking sick.
Yeah, he's also primarily a starter, so
he'll be in the pen, but yeah. Although, you know what, with these guys who are on the 50-50, I don't want to see Whitlock start a game ever again. But besides that, there is, as we know with these injuries, there might be room for someone to slot in the 5 spot.
I think there's definitely going to be, the opening day roster is definitely going to be a spot. It's also because April, we play like 20 consecutive games.
Yeah.
Without so we're going to need to kind of expand beyond the 6 starters that we have.
Yeah, I would think so. I got to think of that Cardinals guy that reminds me of Guerrero. Who is Cardinals closer? His name's Jordan
Hicks?
Jordan Hicks, thank you.
Who is now a starter in San Francisco, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he is. He had not horrible, but not a great year. Yeah, he was fucking throwing heat when I first saw him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Very cool. Zach Penrod. I also don't know a ton about him.
I've watched a YouTube like clip of him, but there's not a lot about him. I think he's just kind of like, he'll fill a spot.
Yeah, he pitched 5 innings.
Yeah.
So
Jordan Hicks is known for his sinker that reaches 102 miles an hour, and he's hit 105 miles per hour on his fastball. That is not easy to hit, but he gets hit around a lot, so clearly velocity isn't everything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't want to talk about him for too long, but Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going to be... It's so funny. I was listening to Talkin' Baseball, and, they had Jared Carabas on, and he was saying, he's like, I fucking hate Aroldis Chapman so much, but, like, this is how I feel. It's like, he's on our team. I'm going to be cheering for the Red Sox by means of Aroldis Chapman. I am not cheering for Aroldis Chapman. Like, he fired a fucking gun at his wife or something. Yeah. So, like, we're not going to get into that, but, like, I don't like him. I don't like that he headhunts at 100 miles an hour. He's going to play a huge part this season. I think he's going to pitch a lot. I mean, he is the lefty option as a quote-unquote closer or setup guy. If you have a bunch of lefties coming up, he's going to pitch in high-leverage games. If and hopefully when we make the playoffs, he's going to be pitching a lot. He still has it. I was watching a video of him the other day. Like, he looks great.
Yeah. He's 37.
Bro, he's still throwing like 102. He looks great.
Don't know how, but yeah.
Apparently he rakes too. Apparently he hits well. I made a joke about that in one of our episodes, and then I looked it up, and like apparently he can hit really well. Like when he was like a high school age, he hit well. But
go figure.
Anyway, I don't like him, but I'm gonna cheer for him when he's on the mound. We'll never buy his jersey, won't wear his jersey, but I hope he does well for our team and we win a World Series. That's really all that needs to be said about that.
Yeah. So moving on to another lefty, Justin Wilson,
who's solid. I mean, it's good that we have like more lefty options out of the pen this year. That's huge.
Yeah. His numbers last year weren't really
They're not
good.
Any eye-catching, but
curious about what I guess Breslow must see him as like a fixer-upper, like as a project, which let's see how that goes.
He's another. How old is he? I've asked that like 3 times, but
He's 37.
yeah, man. I mean, this is kind of his chance to stay in the league for old time's sake. You know,
It's funny because like that is old like for baseball now, but like you look back to like 10 years ago, it's like that wasn't really old for baseball.
No, and if you're a relief pitcher, if you're like if you're like a second baseman or a shortstop and you're running the bases every day, like yeah, you're gonna wear down quicker. But if you're a relief pitcher, I mean, we've seen guys pitch into their 40s. You know, it happens.
I mean,
fucking Clemens and Verlander is still pitching, and he's a starter. He looks good.
Yeah, Scherzer.
Yeah, bro. All these guys. Jamie Moyer, remember that guy? He's like 46. God. Anyway.
Yeah, Rich Hill.
Yeah, fuck. He's still trying to play at the big league level.
Yeah, good luck. Liam Hendricks.
He was. I think I mentioned the first episode. He's like my shock player this year. I think he's gonna be great, and I'm really excited. I love his vibes. I mean, I'm married to one. I love me an Australian. I totally fuck with him, man. I'm so excited he just gives me like Bregman vibes as a pitcher. Like he seems like he fucks with everybody on the team. Everybody likes him. He's kind of got like sage wisdom. He's been around for a while. He's pitched in some high leverage games. I really want him to do well, man.
Yeah.
Big curveball.
Yeah,
I'm a big knuckle curve.
I'm excited to see him. I'm hoping that he can kind of return to form after it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, he was with the White Sox in like 21, I think, when they were in the postseason. Like he has some experience pitching in the postseason. And he does have, I think, it's a knuckle curve is his main pitch, big sweeping knuckle curve, which that's what I throw. So I love that.
Last major leaguer is Chris Murphy, who missed last season with Tommy John.
Yeah, I mean, verdict's
also
out.
A lefty.
Jury's out. We'll see. I mean, you don't really know what's going to happen with guys coming back from TJ, but now the way the surgery's so effective now that who knows, you know?
Right. So, but again, another lefty. So hopefully, depth is good.
Yeah.
The last 2 guys are Hunter Dobbins and Luis Perales.
Right.
Both are minor leaguers.
Yes.
Perales is currently not playing because he had Tommy John like late last year, so he's out for the year.
Yeah, we're not going to see him.
Hunter Dobbins is at spring training right now with the big league team, and his line last year was really good. He had an ERA just over 3, and he had a strikeout over 9 of 8.6, and walks per 9 of 3.4 weren't great.
I don't know. I feel like he'll get used. Is he not on the roster because he
was added to the 40-man as a Rule 5 protection?
Right, okay, gotcha. Yeah, he'll get used. I think we're going to see Ottavino make the team, and I think he's going to pitch. He's been with the club before.
Yeah.
He's pitched in the playoffs. I have a feeling he's going to make the team, and he's going to pitch.
If he does, then great. But can he change his number to
00
to something that's not a number that's already? I don't know. It's such a weird, stupid thing for me to kind of hitch my wagon to.
Yeah.
But 00 is dumb when there's already a 0 on the team.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we have a lot of excitement coming into this. I'll leave it on this. I'm so excited about Bregman. I love his swing for Fenway.
Yeah.
I just watched some highlights from spring training yesterday, and he's a pull hitter for sure, but he's going to be knocking balls off that wall so much.
Yeah. I can't wait. I will wrap up by saying we were not even in the season for 2025, but I was already looking ahead to 2026 because I have some friends who are getting married in the Tampa area in March. In March of 2026.
If the Trop exists.
No. So spring training. Fort Myers. World Baseball Classic.
Okay.
At the same time.
That's the way to go.
I'm like, my calendar now extends. I'm now looking ahead to March of 2026.
Hey man, that's how it goes. Have you done? I'll leave you. Then we'll sign.
Yeah.
Have you done spring training before?
No,
it's sick.
I want to.
I went with my dad a while ago. It's awesome.
For years, I've wanted to go.
Yeah, we saw I saw David Ortiz hit. I saw Jim Thome hit a 600-foot home run in spring training. It was so sick.
Yeah. And hey, it'd be fun to do this pod at spring training.
Yeah, that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. On to the next one. Yeah. Happy Cy Young Day, pod episode 5.
It's Cy Young Day?
No, it's number 5.
Oh.